And one of the things I've been trying to do is just start by throwing out perspectives where we can break from the ways that we're used to seeing things. And see, the problem isn't really as bad as we think. And maybe I'll throw at the end, like capitalism. Maybe we shouldn't even be using that word, or maybe we should use that word for an ideology rather than a total system. You know, we have this thing that we live under capitalism as if everything that happens around us is part of this giant totality and just sort of reproduce it. But actually, maybe that's not the case. Maybe we should talk about capital. You know, that certainly exists. There are capitalists, there's capital, they do terrible things, and they tend to dominate the world, but that doesn't mean that there aren't lots of other things already existing at the moment. And it's really, it's a matter of like, reconfiguring the pieces. It's not a matter of just creating a new totalizing system. These totalizing systems don't really exist. They're just this figment of our imagination. And the other question I want to throw out is, when people say, like, well, what would people really want for a different type of system? Maybe the question is, what would we have to do to put people in a position where they can decide for themselves? That is to say, I'm an anti-capitalist myself, but I'm not going to impose my view on people. I want to create democratic mechanisms whereby communities can actually decide for themselves what sort of economic system they want. I'm pretty confident that they won't choose capitalism. If they do, okay, then I'm wrong, but I'm willing to take that risk. So perhaps this is the important question. But doing that would be absolutely revolutionary, because that's one thing that one is never supposed to imagine, but people actually have that constitutive power to create a system. And finally, I think in terms of utopianism, there's a lot of really bad rap around the idea of trying to imagine alternatives. I think there's no harm in it. I'm not saying just because totalizing systems don't really exist, we shouldn't sit around thinking about them. I think we should, because, the utopias are bad if they get automatic weapons, Someone's trying to impose them on you. It's like theory. There's nothing wrong with simplifying the world through a theory. It's just when the theory gets guns that it becomes a problem. If we're not going to enforce it on people with automatic weapons, the more utopias, the merrier. The better. It'll give people, when they do sit down to kind of figure out what system they want, more material to work with.